the dark, and then we'll go.
We'll never surrender.
Skin boots on a Saturday night.
Hello guys, this is the Gaming Revolution here, and today we're actually going to be talking about some potential leaked specialist characters that we could be seeing in the future for Black Ops 3's multiplayer DLC. Now, I would assume that these would be released as micro DLC, however, they could be released as alongside map packs, or even as free updates, who knows, but I would assume that these would be released as micro DLC, as that would be the way for Activision to profit the most. But anyways, I've been seeing all of your demands for multiplayer videos to return to the channel. Obviously, throughout Advanced Warfare, I was covering multiplayer and obviously zombies news and stuff like that as well. But since Black Ops 3's release, I've become a zombies-only channel because that's what I love. That's what I love the most. But I've decided that I think it would be a good idea to still keep to my roots and cover multiplayer every now and again, although it's never going to be as prevalent as it used to be. But today is quite the exception, because it is the leaked information I'm about to detail. Some of it is actually relating to zombies, and it's something which I think is pretty cool indeed. So anyways, let's jump into the leaked specialist characters. So where all of this information is actually coming from is a user called CJC76. Now this user is actually leaking a YouTuber called Long Sensation a ton of information, and I will link his channel down in this video's description. I would highly recommend to subscribe to him for the latest leaked information that this user will be providing to him. Anyways, this user actually leaked a load of Black Ops 2 multiplayer information before Black Ops 2 actually came out, and it all ended up coming true. And also, before Black Ops 3 was even released, in fact, before we even knew the game would be called Black Ops 3, he leaked a load of information to Long Sensation. About 80% of that information came true, so he's definitely a legitimate source. Some of those things actually included all of the perks, all of the specialist characters, the score streaks, the campaign plot, etc, etc. Granted, it only came true about 80% because all of the information was taken during the mid-development process of the game, so things are subject to change and things like that. And also some of the other stuff that he leaked could be released later on in DLC. But now he's actually providing Long Sensation with some actual DLC information, and let's jump straight into it right now. So he actually said, due to specialist characters' names, abilities and weapons constantly changing, I've decided it would be best to leave these out. Instead, I've decided it would be best to give a description on each of these as best as possible and include the names if I feel confident they will make it into the game. Note, as mentioned before, all characters, abilities and weapons may not make it into the final game. So just take all of this information with a grain of salt. Some of these specialist characters may end up being in the game as DLC. About 80% of it, as he said, came true prior to the game's release, so expect about 80% of these to come true. But due to Treyarch changing things ahead of time, some of them may not actually make it. So for the first DLC specialist character, the character description is actually female, who is an orphan girl who trains as a competitive accuracy shooter and signs up to become one of the military's best snipers. Unknown to science, her ability to use her anger from the death of her parents makes her the best shooter in the world. Her ability is called Bullseye, which is an immense aim assist accuracy which increases for a short duration. Her weapon is an anti-aircraft sniper which blows off limbs and also gives you an increased aim assist also. The next DLC specialist character, his description is male, which is no prosthetics. He decided that warfare technology has gone too far and uses magnetic fields to destroy, disable and cause havoc with military soldiers and equipment. His ability is called Magnetize, and he has a huge magnetic field that causes enemies to lose weapons that they have equipped in hand. Weapons can be picked up within close proximity of the player. The player using Magnetize will show up on the mini-map just like Vision Pulse. His specialist weapon is a one-shot railgun with slight charge delay and contains currently 10 bullets. Now this next leaked specialist character is the most interesting to me because it seems like it's actually going to be Richtofen from Zombies in multiplayer as a specialist character, and this would be very, very cool. Now his ability is actually called Zombified, which uses element 115 to create a gas formula that explodes and reduces movement speed to nearby enemies, drastically slowing them down. And his weapon obviously is the ray gun. Now it would make more sense for him to have the Wunderwaffe, but you could argue that that's already a specialist weapon, as it technically already is, so I think that's why he's got the ray gun, although he did create the Wunderwaffe. But it has 20 bullets, 2 shots to kill, it has a slight splash damage, obviously like we've seen within Zombies itself, and it has the same fire rate. That would be awesome if the case. Now the next character is actually very, very similar to Richtofen because it's going to be a male who is a crazy scientist, just like Richtofen, although he's a crazy doctor, but it's basically the same concept. And his ability is actually to get all perks within the game for a short duration, which is activated by the player drinking a potion. We actually saw something similar to this within one of the DLC maps for COD Ghost. There was a similar Easter egg on one of the maps. I can't remember what it was called because no one cares about that game. Now, the specialist weapon is actually called Plasma Cannon, which shoots high voltage plasma ammo, which is 4 to 5 bullets, highly accurate, slight splash damage, and is a one-shot kill. So even that seems pretty similar to the ray gun in some way. I mean, it even has some splash damage as well, and that sounds like an absolutely insane weapon, and I just can't wait to use that. Now the next DLC specialist character is going to be a female, which is expert in chemical warfare. Her ability is going to be blindness, which causes nearby enemies to get temporarily blinded for a short duration caused by a gas cloud. Now her specialist weapon is actually going to be a Nova Gas grenade launcher, which holds down key objectives and creates an impenetrable glass cloud for a short duration. It has 4 bullets and the weapon looks like the China Lake from Black Ops 1. I really like the sound of this one. Now the next DLC specialist character is going to be a male, and it says experiment gone wrong. This character is the biggest and baddest of them all and looks almost like Frankenstein with huge scars across his head and body. And what's very interesting about this is I actually posted a video not so long ago actually speculating that we could be seeing Frankenstein or some sort of creature that's based off of Frankenstein on the new Zombies map coming in DLC 1 Awakening, Der Eisen Drache, and we could be seeing some sort of Frankenstein-like boss on that map. So what if that this will also be in multiplayer? I think this is a high possibility, and I think it's something which is very, very highly likely to happen, and it coincides with that theory identically. Now his ability is going to be called Rage. This is an intense rage which causes the screen to go black and white and highlights enemy players in thermal vision, and players also receives reduced flinch. That sounds amazing, and if it's something like that on Zombies as well, it's going to be really hard to face. Now his weapon is going to be a huge shotgun that fires small grenade type pellets, causing a massive explosive radius, and it only contains 1 bullet. The next character is going to be a male, and it says water is this character's strong suit, opposite to fire break. His ability is water thrusters, which allows the player to boost at incredible speed for a short duration with his water thrusters. Incredibly useful for getting out of tight situations and also catching enemies off guard. Now what I was thinking that this ability might give you an exo or effects like an exo, similar to what we've seen within Advanced Warfare. We obviously have the thrusters within Black Ops 3, but they're nowhere near as powerful as the advanced movement within Advanced Warfare. So what if it gives you movement similar to that, and with this you can move really, really quickly with this ability. Now his weapon, his specialist weapon, is going to be a high pressurized water cannon with immense range. Its damage and accuracy is lost over range, and the water disperses. So that one really sounds interesting indeed. So anyways, that's going to conclude today's video. As I said, take all of this information with a bit of a grain of salt. Some of the names and things may have changed once the DLC is actually released. As I said, I've got no idea when this DLC or even how it's going to be given to us, but we'll just have to wait and see. Also, this may not be the entire list of DLC specialists that we could be seeing within the future. There's probably a lot more left in store that we just don't know about as of yet. As he said, some of these may never be released, but I'm pretty certain that the majority of them will be, since this source is so accurate. So anyways, make sure to check out Long Sensation's channel in the description. So without further ado, thank you for watching the video. Make sure if you're new around here for the latest and greatest Black She's always news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and